Welcome in to another Key of David podcast. And like I've said, 100 videos in 100 days. And these aren't just, little reels here and there. These are long form, hour-long content. I literally just got done doing work in North Carolina. That's why you see me dressed in my abnormal attire. I'm joined by David the Lion Douglas and Trevor Keys, but I'm also joined by Elder Tik Tok. Now, here's the crazy thing. I had an amazing phone call with Elder Tik Tok, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago. Totally impressed by this guy. And I don't even know his first name. I only know him by Elder Tik Tok. And so what I wanted to do is have him on our show because I want to get to know who Elder Tik Tok is. He's blowing up on the internet. He's taken the LDS influencers by storm. And I watch all of his TikToks. I watch all of his Instagrams. He's bringing up some very interesting things. So, Elder Tik Tok, welcome to the pod, man. How you doing?
First and foremost, man, Shane, Trevor, David, I'm honored to be on y'all's show for real. That was the most generous introduction you could have given me, man. My first name is Tao Tai, but I am, mostly known across all social media as Elder Tik Tok. So can you pronounce that actually? Can you say my first name?
Tao Tai.
There you go. That was perfect pronunciation. Yes, sir.
Say your full name, though, because I know it's more than just Tao Tai.
Oh, you're smart. Are you sure? Because that's going to take up half of the podcast if I say my full name. I'm going to be so real. My real name is Tao Tai Kialaka Ikupa'afano. Now say that one. Go ahead.
Tao Tai Kua'pia'lopano.
Ooh, I think you just said a few swear words in there in the Polynesian language. I'm not going to lie. Tao Tai Kialaka Ikupa'afano. That is my full name. That is my legal name.
What does that mean? Is there some meaning behind that?
Yes, there is. If you look at my beautiful flags behind me, I have the Samoan flag, Western Samoan flag to my right, and the American Samoa flag to the back. I come from Polynesian descent, specifically Samoan Hawaiian, and my name simply means leader in the Samoan culture. I'm the oldest of 6, and that is what my name means. Even my middle name, it's the head of the fisherman, right? He's the headmaster of the boat. He's a wayfinder, a navigator. So essentially, my name means leader. At length.
Okay. That's amazing. Yeah, Shane and I have talked about the meanings of names and their significance. So that's pretty amazing.
I appreciate you, fellas. Thanks.
Okay, so Tao Tai, I want to get into a little bit of your story. Tell us a little bit about I assume you were raised LDS. But tell us a little bit about kind of growing up. If you weren't raised LDS, then tell me that. But tell me a little bit about your family dynamics. Sounds like you're the oldest of 6. But let's just kind of cover from 0 to the time you went on your mission, and we'll go there.
I like that. No, that's a good timeline to start off to kind of build a base of who I am and what the heck. Why is this brown kid making TikToks about the LDS church? So brilliant. I am a byproduct of 2 convert families, meaning my mom was a convert and my dad was a convert, right? And we all know as members of the church, when you come from a convert family, it's strict. It's by the book, right? Because they didn't have the gospel growing up. So now that they found the truth, they're going to make sure they cross all their T's, dot all their I's, that their kids are following. And then you sprinkle on the Polynesian aspect and the Mexican aspect, Oh man, my upbringing in the LDS church was every Sunday, every fast offering, every young men's, right? And to be honest, I'm grateful, right? So I grew up in Happy Valley, Utah. I claim Happy Valley, Utah. I'm just like the standard Mormon kid from Utah. Yep, I went to church, went to seminary. I did all that fun stuff, right?
What about sports? Were sports a thing in your life?
Oh, of course, brother. Of course, brother. What are you talking about? Where's my cleats at? Football was my first love. I fell in love with football. That was my first love. Madden 07 was the first Madden I ever played with Sean Alexander on the cover. Football was my everything. Football was my life. I played all year since kindergarten. I had the blessing of playing after my mission as well in college. I played sports. Yes, I fell in love with football. So yeah.
Look at that shoe shelf in the background. You could see it like right.
Oh, can you see my shoe collection? Man, I got a few. I got a few shoes, a few hats. You know what I'm saying? I got some boxes over here too, as you can see. But yeah, I'm obsessed with sports. I love it. Fantasy starting up soon. So I grew up playing football. Grew up in church, obviously. I loved it. I love my upbringing. I know I'm from Happy Valley. I know it's a cookie cutter kind of position I'm in, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, in all honesty.
Okay, so you graduated from seminary.
Oh, correct, 100%. Fun fact, this is Elder Tik Tok. I've never told this to anybody. I was the only one in my, so, because you know how seminary is divided in Doctrine and Covenants year, Old Testament year, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was the only one in high school who got 100% on the Book of Mormon test at the end of the year. I was the only one in my class. I was like, come on, y'all, like, this is cake, bro. This is light, but that's one of my biggest flexes when it comes to seminary, of course. So yes, graduated seminary.
Okay, and then you go on a mission. What year did you go on your mission?
I served 2 missions, Shane. I served 2. Don't disrespect me, please. I served 2. No, just kidding. I served 2 missions. My first mission was in 2019. This beautiful flag over here behind this one that I'm pointing to here. Does anybody know where that flag is from? Trevor? You ever seen that one before?
No, I don't think I have seen that before.
Shane, do you have a guess, maybe?
I thought you said Western Samoa, but I don't know that other flag.
Yeah, so this one is Western Samoa. My first mission was the islands of Kiribati, the Marshall Islands Kiribati mission.
Okay.
And when we get into my mission stories, I'll tell you guys things you probably wish you wouldn't have heard. I would probably, but that was my first mission. And as you could, 2019, the years ring a bell, COVID missionary, they brought me back. And then my flag is over there. And then I finished my mission in Washington, Seattle. So that was my second mission. My second mission was in Washington, Seattle.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning into this episode. Be sure to share this episode with your friends and your family on any platform, whether that be Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or however you send messages. Get it out to people. We have grown our channel in just 45 days to 3,000 subscribers. And our goal is to get to 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we need your help. So if you like our content, please do us a solid and share it with your neighbor. So talk to me about deciding to go on a mission. Was that something you always planned on doing and you were going to do it?
To be honest with you, Shane, because of my upbringing, because of who I was kind of spoon-fed at a young age. Like, oh no, you'll serve a mission. Like, there's no if, buts, or maybes. But there did come, I will, like, all graces to my parents, all love to my parents for raising me correctly. There was a time where I was like, no, like, I'm serving a mission for me. I'm not serving it for my parents. I'm not serving it because you forced me to. Like, I genuinely want to go serve a mission. I think it's good. I think it's a good testimony builder, a good character development, and I wanted to serve a mission because it's so cool. And I knew, what's funny is I knew from the get-go, whatever they told me at the MTC, I'll listen, but I already knew what kind of missionary I wanted to be, just based off of what I read about scriptures. The best missionaries did this, and so I already knew what I was going to do when I served the mission, regardless of where I went.
So tell me a little bit about getting your mission call. I mean, obviously you get called to an amazing place. I don't even know anything about that place, but walk me through what that experience was like.
And nobody does. Nobody knows where it is. I can't even point it on the map for you. That's how secluded and small this island, this nation is. I opened my mission call begging and pleading. Not gonna lie, don't do this. I fasted that I would get called to Samoa. I'm not gonna lie. I fasted that I would get called to Samoa. So when I read it, I mispronounced my mission call. I said Marshall Islands, Kiribati. And everyone was like, oh, where the heck? And we were all like, it was like, where the heck are you going? So I'm not gonna lie, I was pissed. I was pissed because I really thought I was gonna go to Samoa, like all my cousins and all my uncles. And then I get this random country that no one's ever heard of before. So I was salty. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit salty. And my mission call, I did it only family. It was on the beach in Hawaii on vacation. So I didn't get like the hurrah or the cheers or anything like these normal. You've seen the videos. Mm-hmm. But I loved it. It was intimate. But the only weird thing was like the mystery behind it all. Like, where the heck is the Lord sending me? I feel like I should be with my people in Samoa, my people in Mexico. Where the heck are you sending me? So I'm not gonna lie, I was salty.
So when you dove in and you started learning about it, did you start getting excited?
Yes and no. I'm just going to be so real because I'm like, it wasn't Samoa. And I'm like, dude, like, I've been so faithful my whole life. I've kept all the commandments. I went through the temple. I'm a good member. Like, I thought I was going to go here. But as I learned more about it, I was like, okay, at least it's an island. Like, that's cool. There's only 100,000 people spread across these 32 little atolls. I was like, where are you guys sending me? I was getting excited, but still mad that I didn't get to my dream mission. So, but
was it English speaking?
I had to learn the Gilbertese language.
Wow. I mean, what's that close to, if anything?
If anything, the closest dichotomy I could relate it to is the Samoan language, funny enough, and the Maori, ancient Maori language of New Zealand. They had a baby and it became what we know as the Kiribati language. Kiribati is, in English, it's Gilbert. I want you guys to listen real quick. Kiribati, 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 Gilbert, 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 Gilbert. So Gilbert and Kiribati, it's the same word. Little education. Little education. Hey, see, that's the best we can do. That's the best we can do. Or that's the best they could do when they were translating the language. So I had to learn to speak Gilbertese in the Gilbert Islands, Kiribati Nation.
How many missionaries were out there when you showed up there? How many missionaries are in that mission?
150.
Okay, and tell me a little bit about. I actually want to talk. What was your MTC experience like? I've heard a lot of people have a lot of different experiences, but what was your MTC experience like?
Me personally, and I'm just speaking for myself, this is Elder Tik Tok speaking here. I loved it, but I was also exposed to a bunch of random, I'll keep it filtered, right? This is a family-friendly show. A bunch of crap on the mission. As far as, so bottom line, I loved it because we became brothers with my district. I was getting hyped to go on the mission. I was learning the lessons. I was learning the language. All good. However, the MTC was one of the times on my mission experience I was like, whoa, we're weird. Or you're weird, but you're using doctrine to back it up. I'll be super transparent with you boys today, with you fellas, gentlemen. We had missionaries in the MTC bestow the priesthood on a stray cat. I'm not kidding. But it was a girl cat, and her name was Sister Mittens. I'll do you one better. We had an elder bring a Ouija board into the MTC because he wanted to see if the Melchizedek priesthood was stronger than the demonic things that come from a Ouija board.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think about that? What do you think?
Okay, so I didn't have those experiences in the MTC when I was there in the 90s. I don't know about you, Trevor or David, but that sounds very different than my experience. So were you there learning the language? Were you there for, how long were you in the MTC?
6 weeks. 6 weeks for a language mission, yeah.
6 weeks. Okay, so cool. So then you get sent to do they call it the Gilbert Islands?
It's Kiribati. It's Kiribati.
The Kiribati Islands. How well, like, did the language come easy to you? Because you seem pretty fluent, especially in the English language. And before we started talking, you started speaking Spanish like you knew Spanish. But how hard was it for you to learn Kiribati or the language?
I truly believe, Shane, David, and Trevor, in the gift of tongues. It's so real. Listening to Samoan in my youth, growing up from my dad, listening to some Hispanic music a little bit, I just genuinely feel like I have a natural tongue and I'm a fast learner. That's one of my gifts from Heavenly Father. So it took me less time to learn the Kiribati language than most missionaries. The standard is 6 months. I was conversational at 4 months. And granted, there's only 13 letters in the Kiribati alphabet, and one word, because we all speak languages here, the one word can have 5 different meanings. So you can like take a shot in the dark or guess it, and the locals will be like, "Oh yeah, I know what you're trying to say. That makes sense." It's super easy. I'll granted, Kiribati is easier to learn than Spanish. I'll be super transparent. It really is. But I genuinely loved learning the language. No English, just diving like in the trenches, just like no English. Let's go. I need to start teaching these people.
Gotcha. So, quick question for you, because I believe in the gift of tongues as well. But for some people, the language doesn't come as easy as it does to other people. And so you have to ask yourself the question, why does one person struggle where another person doesn't? Would you say that you were investing a significant amount of time in really understanding the language? So not only do you believe in the gift of tongues, but do you feel like you were also, hyper-focused on learning the language and very diligent in that regard?
That's a very brilliant question. That's a very intuitive question. Yes to all of that you said, because Shane, and as missionaries, if you're watching this, you're going to serve a mission. You can't get any work done. You can't establish a relationship if you don't speak the language. That was my main motivator, right? I wanted to be the elder that told jokes, that could speak ancient tongue to impress the people. Not that was my main motivation, but
That's how you build trust.
That's how you build trust. And when an American comes into a third world country, normally they're seen as like, oh my gosh, like look at these Americans trying to do whatever they want to do, colonize, take over our land. But like it's like I'm sitting down next to you. I'm in the nicest way possible. I'm not lowering myself to your guys' lifestyle or culture, but I'm with you. I'm with you. And the best way to do that is you focus on the language. And once the language is down, the Spirit's just going to help you with it, right? And then it's just a dance at that point, to the point where you have the whole thing. It's a routine. It's memorized.
Gotcha. So you get out there, you get out to the mission, and we hear all these stories. I had an amazing trainer. His name's Shane Daly. He's awesome. But talk to me about your first companion. Did you have a good one? Did you have a not so good one? What was your first companion like?
Without having his name in it, I love you, by the way. If my first ever companion on my mission ever saw this, I love you. He was the definition of a teddy bear. Just a humble giant. It was a big boy too. But my first two companions on my mission were both 26. 26, 25. They were older. Excuse me, I may have misspoken, so I apologize. 24. It was 24, excuse me. Let me get that right. But still old. I'm 18 and 24. So I'm looking up to these guys like, oh my gosh, like you guys are serving a mission this old? Like, what happened? Not really, but like, give me your wisdom. I truly believe your first companion is one of the most monumental people on your mission. In the most respectful, humble way possible. Beautiful at the language. Testimony of a giant. The softest soul you'll ever talk to. You could never be mad at my first companion. But he was checked out. He was just completely checked out. Because, and rightfully so, you've been in paradise so long and you're leaving next transfer. Guilty. I'd be checked out too. And you're in paradise. You're in with palm trees on the beach. So needless to say, we didn't get much work done, but he was an amazing person, amazing missionary, I could tell.
So what advice do you have for other missionaries that are out there? Because that first area, that first companion is really super important. What advice do you have for any missionaries out there if they get a companion that might be checked out? Like, how did you deal with that? How did you handle that in your first area?
I need every missionary, future missionary, to listen to me right now. You have to have a balance. I know these greenies are getting into the field super, we got to knock every door, Elder, let's go, 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 go. That's not reality. It's really not. And I don't care if you disagree, that's totally fine. I was there. You and your companion, you're a team, right? And the church is slick because they're putting you together with different kind of companions throughout your mission. It's almost like dating in a sense. It's almost like the church wants us to establish these communicative skills with a companion. That way, when we're back from the mission, we know how to communicate with different personalities, different cultures, different people. So if you have a companion that's checked out, give them grace, but find that balance. I know you want to work hard, but this guy has worked hard for 2 years, maybe even more, right? So it's not that serious if you guys don't get something done that one day. You don't get a baptism. You sleep in maybe an hour later. Like, I know what the missionary guidelines is, but my best advice is to give a little and take a little. If your companion's checked out, give him grace, but at the same time, it's like, hey man, like, help me out, right? And that goes with any companionship ever. It's a teamwork. It's a dance. It's give a little, take a little, right? If you have a companion who's all go, 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 and you need to settle down, tell him, hey bro, can we breathe? Can we go grab lunch? There's always some dichotomy. There's always a dynamic, but that's truly how I feel.
Gotcha. So you get out there. Was the food weird? Was that hard? Talk to me about that.
Oh, so I lost 40 pounds in 2 months. I don't know if that's a feat or not. Because this is a third world country we're talking about, gentlemen. There's no food. What are you talking about food? You have to go get your own food from the waters. The second day, I forget which day it was, but he created the waters for a reason. This island of Kiribati, they live off the land. You're thirsty, climb that tree over there. This is real life. I lived there, I promise you. If you're hungry, go fish. Hopefully there's fish already stocked up from the night previous. If you're thirsty, like I said, either wait for it to rain, or you can wait every once a week for the shipment to come in from the main island. So I lost 40 pounds within 2 months. Like the MTC food was gone like that. Plus, of course, we're next to the equator, all that. Do you guys like seafood at all? Do you guys like seafood?
Love seafood.
Yeah? Trevor?
Yeah.
David?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
There
No. I just had, I I love sashimi, and I just found out that I could get these steak cuts of tuna, and I thaw them out. I just eat them like that. With soy sauce, and it was just really good.
Okay. What about Trevor? Is the seafood guy?
Trevor, I don't know where Trevor is.
Trevor bounced out just for a minute. He'll be right.
Oh, I didn't see him. All good. But when you, and this is a cultural thing too. You eat everything. What little they have, they give to the missionaries. They give to the American because they are so grateful you are coming into their country and talking about God. They'll give you the clothes off their back. They'll give you the food off their plates. You eat the bones. You lick them dry. You eat the eyes. You eat the larvae. You eat all of it, brother. You do not. That's the one time where you don't eat meat sparingly is in Kiribati. you gotta eat everything because it's everything that they're offering to you. That's a sign of respect.
And what was the church like out there? Like, is it big, small, growing, not growing? Like, what was the missionary work like out there?
We were very much the hot new girl in school. That's the best way that I can describe it. When you're in school, oh yeah, I know Trevor. Yeah, I know the Catholic Church. Like, oh yeah, Daniel, the Protestant. Yeah, they're cool. Who is that? Who is Shoddy, right? What is the Mormon Church? Why do they have the nicest buildings? You guys have chairs in your guys' chapel? We have to sit on the floor. You guys have the nicest uniforms? That's how I would describe our LDS church on Kiribati. We are the newest church on the island, obviously. And we, obviously, because of faithful tithing payers and just because of blessings, we have the nicest things on the island to the point where, Shane and David, you would have locals come to us, missionaries, and say, Elder, can you teach my son about your gospel, about the church? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Is he interested? He's like, well, I want them to go to Moroni High School. So come baptize them. I'm like, wait, you want us to teach your kids the gospel or just so they can get baptized to go to Moroni? And those people, they're straight up. They're like, oh yeah, I just want them to go to the best school. I was like, what about you, Mom and Dad? Do you want to learn about? No. We're Catholic or we're Protestant or we're KPC, we're KUC, we're good. I was like, huh? Interesting, right? So yeah. But it is growing. 3-4 years ago, President Nelson announced a temple on the main island in Kiribati, which is funny because Kiribati is the first island that's due to global warming. That's going to be the first country that's going to be submerged. So a sad reality. Wonder why President Nelson wants to build a temple there. Maybe there's some speculation there, but needless to say, the Mormon Church on Kiribati is the hot new girl.
Gotcha. So missionary work wasn't like everybody was telling you no. I mean, people were interested, which obviously made the work more interesting. Do you got any mission stories you'd like to share before we move on from your mission? Do you have any stories that really stand out to you?
If I tell you guys this story, please don't judge me. And please just realize the intent of why I did it. Does that make sense?
We've got some weird stories. You're good.
So I'm on an island with no electricity, no plumbing. I have to dump in the ocean. I have to wipe my butt in the ocean. I have to wait for it to rain. That way we can fill up our bucket to shower. These are the conditions I live in. And you guys got to realize, serving in an American mission is not the same as a third world country. Meaning, the way you teach the gospel to God's children, it varies. You have to teach it different. Third world country people do not have, in the most respectful way possible, they don't have the brain capacity or knowledge that we do with the technology, with all the resources that we have. That's just the natural flow of life. So you have to tailor to their needs. Preach My Gospel talks about this all the time. You teach to people's needs. Of course, we could have dove into deep doctrine with them. Of course, we could have talked about like a concept as hard as spirit prison and spirit paradise.
That's deep.
that's deep for people in Kiribati. They're like, huh? Like, hell? Like, what? Like, so you need to teach the people's needs the basic fundamentals that we learned in primary. First of all, that's all you need as a member of the church anyways, in my opinion. Second of all, that's how you build the trust. That's how you build the kingdom, is brick by brick. So you can't just dive too much deep into it. Having said that, I got a haircut on the island I was serving in. I told you, no electricity, no, so we don't have razors. These people have to live off the land. A pair of kitchen scissors, he cut my hair, right? I need a shower. You guys remember where I have to shower, right? It's the ocean. So I'm like, oh, I told my companion, my elder, I need a shower, but I'm in my G's, right? Underneath, he's like, I'm not looking. So what I thought was a quick shower after my haircut in the ocean of Kiribati, I dive in, I take off my tag, my tie, my shirt, my top, and I kept my bottoms on just in case. I'm swimming in the ocean. I guilty. Elder Tik Tok swim, so I'm in the ocean on his mission. Guilty, but I was showering. I got all the hair out, and then I look to shore, and the whole village is seeing this American boy. And what color are garments, by the way, Shane?
White.
So if it gets wet, thank you, Trevor. So I'm sitting there, and it hits me. There's a naked Mormon missionary swimming in the ocean with the whole village wondering what the heck he's doing. So that's called, what we call that, fellas, is the point of no return, right? So my young missionary head, I said, whatever, F it, pretty much. So I started dancing in the water. I started doing front flips into the water. I started doing back flips. And the reason why is because these are island people. They're simple. They started laughing. They started cheering me on as I don't know if this, don't judge me. I don't know if this is blasphemous right now, but no, I'm in my bottom G's, shower, like washing myself off after my haircut, and I'm just having a good time. And I felt like there was nothing wrong. And here was the cool part. My companion comes over. He helps me out. I can't wear the bottoms anymore. Like, it's white, it's see-through. It's pretty bad. Put on my pants and everything, and all the locals are just like, that was so funny. What are you wearing? I said, oh, these are, you don't want to know. These are just, I'm like, but why would you just wear normal underwear? Watch this. Watch how I do this. Watch how I cook this up. I was like, oh, well, they're called garments. They remind me of God. And whenever I put them on, I think of God. And they're like, oh, why? Like, I think of God, but I don't wear those. Tell me more. And then then the conversation steered towards, oh, well, first of all, I'm a missionary for the Mormon church. Oh yeah, the Mormon church, the new, like the cool church. I was like, yep, that's me. And I wear these garments because I made you see how I did that though? You see how I turned an embarrassing moment, maybe disobedient moment, into a teaching moment? That was my whole mission. I said, I know what the rules are, but a good, effective missionary will never put a mission rule over a commandment. I said it. That's how I personally feel. God gives us commandments, and we are supposed to treat as people the way he taught us to. I am not saying go break every mission rule. That's not what I'm saying. But we obviously know we're not supposed to swim as missionaries for certain circumstances, for certain reasons, for safety. The church wants to keep us safe. I get that. But no, that moment when I taught a gospel principle about temples, about who I am, because I was swimming in my garments, that, to me, I felt like I was on top of the world because I turned that situation into a teaching moment. And that was just one little story that I could drop amongst countless, when I was on the island of Kiribati.
So when did you get to Kiribati, and when did COVID hit, and how did that, because you're a COVID missionary, so how did that transition happen, and what was going on in your mind as you're in this third world country and the rest of the world is going through, COVID?
There are 2 emails that I received on my mission that stand out to me. Because remember, I didn't have Wi-Fi. We had to go buy Wi-Fi from the cafe. The first email was when, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant died. They're like, Elder Fano Tao Tai, guess what? Kobe died. I was like, what? That's crazy. The second email was from a cousin of mine. And she said, hey, I don't know if you know, but there's like this weird thing going on around the world right now. I know you guys don't care. I'm like, yeah, we could care less. Like, I'm in the middle of the ocean, way away from that stuff. What's going on? So in my head, I had no worries in the world. I'm like, I don't know what's going on in America. I'm trying to take care of my people here. Y'all handle that and just don't. That's not my business. Church took care of all the American missionaries. April of 2020, they flew us all home. Everyone came back to the main island from the outer islands. We boarded a private jet from Fiji. We actually had to leave our luggage in Kiribati because the plane was too heavy. And if we didn't leave the luggage, we had 2 stops. We had Kiribati, and then we had to go pick up Fiji missionaries. If we had not collectively voted to leave our luggage there, Fiji would not have been home from COVID. So, I mean, it was a no-brainer at that point. It's just materialistic things. I get home. I have a 3-month halftime. When I'm not a missionary, I'm here in Happy Valley, Utah. And then I get sent out 3 months later to Washington, Seattle, 2020.
Did they release you?
They did.
You came, so you're released, and are you wondering kind of what the next thing's going to happen? You're just kind of sitting in limbo?
No, I wasn't sitting in limbo. I was like, I'm not going back out on a mission unless it's Kiribati. Like, I'm not going. I'm sorry. God doesn't make mistakes, so he knows I'm supposed to serve there. Oh, but there's this option. You can wait for it. I'm like, nope, I don't want it. If it's not Kiribati, I don't want it. And if you're not going to give me Kiribati back, I'm done. Like, I'm done. I don't care. I was very prideful in that moment. Spirit humbled me and said, go to Seattle, wait for Kiribati, then just go after. I said, Spirit, I was like, all right, whatever. So I pulled Seattle. I was like, okay, cool. I like the rain. I like Seattle Seahawks. It's cool. So I wasn't sitting in limbo, but I was made up in my head what I wanted to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I knew what was going to happen. I knew what I wanted. So that's the state of mind that I was in during that time.
And how long had you served prior to coming home from COVID?
7 months.
So you went out, so 7 months.
7
You
months.
still had a good amount of time, about 1.5 years left to serve. So then you head up to Seattle. How was that? I know the Polynesian culture is actually pretty big in Washington, but tell me a little bit about that experience. As you served 2 totally different missions. So talk to me a little bit about going to Seattle.
Oh boy, are you ready? I want you guys to guess which state in the United States has the lowest percent of Christianity, the highest percent of atheists, and voted number 1 for the godless godless state in America.
Seattle.
How? Brilliant, gentlemen. You take a Mormon missionary from a Christian country and you put him in the most godless state in America with the highest rate of atheists, agnostics, 0 Christianity. You tell me what that does to a young man, 19, 20 years old.
Especially since over in Kiribati, like you were the it girl. Like people were totally interested in the church, and so now you're facing something totally different. But I know you have a strong mind, so what do you do?
I went from the pretty new hot girl in Kiribati to the ugly bully that nobody likes in high school. Because that's what the Mormon church is in Seattle. It's an atheist country. I get there. I bring my happy little, I just came from Kiribati. Like, let's spread the word. Clouds every day. Teslas everywhere. Money everywhere. Not a palm tree in sight. Not a smile in sight, let me add. How about, hey, do you know your neighbors? If you don't want to talk to us, do you know our neighbors? No, we don't know any of our neighbors. How long have you lived here? Oh, my whole life. You don't know who lives next to you? No. Hey, sir, how you doing? Not friendly. Not conducive. Not just polar opposites. Polar opposites. And I'll be a little bit vulnerable here to the fellas. I know you guys are older than me and much more mature. It was because of my Seattle mission that I'm now introverted in a sense. it just did something to me. I'll have a conversation with any of you about anything all day, but to take me trying to do my best to be a missionary for the Lord into an environment where I'm not appreciated, that made me very cautious about talking to people, which sucked because, as you guys know me, I talk to everybody. I'm extroverted at heart, but Seattle really changed me. And that was my initial experience coming to Seattle. So I got messed up in the head. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I try to be happy, try to be a good elder missionary, but it sucked.
It was tough.
Yeah,
you had
hella
this
tough.
amazing experience going on in Kiribati, and then COVID happens, and then people are already not wanting to talk to anybody because it's COVID. So, and then you go to a really tough spot. How did you deal with that? Like you still had, a year and a half to go. How'd you get through it?
Day by day, and I looked at the clock. I'm not gonna lie. My main motivation, I regret it now. Actually, I don't believe in regrets, so let me rewind real quick. I wish I could have done something a little different with my attitude, but my main motivation, like I told y'all boys, was Kiribati. I'm like, I'm only here because Kiribati is waiting for me on the other side, right? You're right. I had a year and a half left. It gets to the general conference in November. November, when I'm there, right? I got there in August. One night, I got the email from headquarters. Elder Fano, thank you for serving well. We are here to inform you that unfortunately we will not be sending you back to Kiribati. You will finish the remainder of your mission in Seattle. I broke my heart. I cried that night. Title, Elder Tik Tok don't cry, everybody. Okay, I really don't. But that night I cried. But what got me through it was, this is what got me through it. What are you teaching different in Kiribati that you're teaching in Seattle? Nothing. It's the same thing. Do you love the people of Kiribati more than you love the people of Seattle? No. I love all of God's children the same. Like, everyone's my brother and sister. Okay, so what are you doing? Are you serving a mission, or are you serving in a place? A mission is not a place. It's who you serve and how you serve. So that was a reality check for me. I'm like, Seattle's my new home. I got to fall in love with Seattle the same way I fell in love with Kiribati. And it was a grind. But eventually, after putting my pride to the side and being humble, I was able to get through it.
Do you have any experiences you want to share about your time in Seattle? Any conversion stories, or any miraculous stories, or any just great mission stories, especially for those that are maybe getting ready to go on their missions?
You never know the good that you do as a missionary. You see maybe 10%, a convert, a baptism, right? But we're not doing it for the glory. We're not doing it so we can email home like, oh, yep, look what I did today. I'm such a good missionary. It's like, no. You will do things on your mission that will go unnoticed by the majority, but one person will remember that and say, hey, I remember this Mormon LDS missionary was really nice to me. This missionary helped me this one time. I mean, I don't believe in the Mormon church. They're weird. They're a cult. But that one missionary made me feel God's love that day. That is the epitome of missionary work. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Some missionaries, they're great rule followers, but they're horrible missionaries. They suck at being a disciple of Christ, but they are obedient to every letter of the law. And if that's what you think a good missionary is, like, I'm happy for you. That's just not me. That I was there to serve the people. I was there to take care of God's children in any way that I could. This one is a little heavy. If someone wants to come to church and they ask you, Elder Fano, I'm really nervous about going into a chapel. Like, I haven't been to church in like a while. Can I just take a hit? Excuse me. Can you guys still hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a call here. Let me see. Oh,
It's he's getting a call. He's got a date tonight.
I wish. We had a friend, a guy, just casually talking to us. He's like, I've been trying to find God and everything. I'm like, cool, come to church. Elder Fano, I'm really nervous about going to church. Can I take this hit? I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, oh, can I go smoke real quick before I go in? what do you do? What do you do?
I say, man, go, and I'll be right here for you. That's how I roll. They have made no commitments to live the word of wisdom yet, and they want to come to church. So cool, man.
So two things run through my head. Oh, like, you're smoking. I can't bring you into the Lord's house. Like, we're about to have sacrament. There's kids there. Like, everyone's going to smell you. Like, hold on. What the heck am I doing? You made a you're coming to church after how long? And you want us to be there for you? So my mindset is, take your hit, do what you need to do. I will be sitting right next to you whenever you're ready in church. And fellas, isn't that how it should be?
Totally.
Like, come as you freaking are. You know what I mean? If you smell smoke in a chapel, that's a good sign somebody's trying. You know what I'm saying? We need to stop this Utah construct, this Utah theology, ideology, Peter priesthoodness. Like, the gospel is not set up like that. It's really not. If you are like that, good for you. If that's you, if that's how you roll, that's good. But there's the only perfect person we're supposed to replicate after is the Savior, not Brother Johnson, not Sister Smith, who looks like they got their ish together. You come as you are, you take the sacrament same as everybody, and we're chilling. This same person, we'll call him John. John had such a good time at church, he invited us over. We come over, fellas, and this is a little heavy. He wants to watch The Passion of the Christ. That's a pretty heavy movie.
Yeah.
Because he wants to discuss it, right? We notice that the beer cans are on the floor when we walk in. There's about like 6 of them on the floor. Looked at my companion, I said, all right, we're doing this. Like, we're doing this. This is the first time I was low-key scared on my mission. When people are drunk, they say things they don't mean. They go kind of crazy. So John, after being off of a pack of 6, starts yelling, starts discussing the Passion of the Christ, and from under his mattress pulls out the 9. And I'm like, oh, cool. Don't see that in Kiribati. And he's going off on like, if I take my life right now, will I see God, elders? Hey, I'm not trying to scare you, but like, what would happen if I like did something? Will I be judged? Obviously, he's intoxicated. I get that. But like, I'm like, that's a loaded weapon, sir. And you are waving it? Like, who knows? But I just said a prayer in my heart. I was like, do I leave with my companion right now? Or what do we do in this intense situation? But I felt like I couldn't abandon a son of God that was clearly having some mental issues, struggles, drinking problems, obviously, perhaps. So we stood there while he was unchambering and chambering the Glock, and we just stood there our ground, and we didn't want to provoke him too much. But that's an extreme example. But that would have never have happened in Kiribati. But you see the differences in experiences you'll feel on the mission and from your day-to-day life. It's all about how you handle it. Use the Spirit. That's all I got to say, is use the Spirit.
Totally. So you get done with your mission by 2021. You come home from your mission, and I want to get into the phase of Elder Tik Tok. Okay?
Yes,
so
sir.
You come home from your mission. When does Elder Tik Tok take off, and where does the name Elder Tik Tok even come from?
We have to go back before my MTC. I was initially, I don't think I've admitted this on live camera before. My first TikTok handle was the Mormon TikToker. That was my first handle ever, was the Mormon TikToker. And then I was like, that's okay. I'm like, I'm about to serve a mission soon. I'm about to be an elder. Elder's tough. And I'm making TikToks. I'm about to serve a mission, about to be an elder, and I'm making TikToks. Elder TikTok. Let's do it. And it stuck, and I have not changed it since. And
So Elder Tik Tok took hold before the mission.
oh, well, no, yeah, it did, yeah. Before the mission, then I went on the mission, and I would have teachers, I would have other missionaries be like, have you been making TikToks? I'm like, yeah, that's me. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then when I came home from my first mission, I picked it back up again, revived it, but then put it aside.
And what was your goal? So you come home from your mission, you have this Elder Tik Tok account. What was your because you obviously love the gospel. You obviously love doing missionary work. But talk to me about the drive. Because, dude, your TikToks are awesome, by the way.
I appreciate you.
If anybody hasn't checked out his TikTok, I think it's just Elder Tik Tok on TikTok. You can find him on Instagram as well. He's providing content that's fun, exciting, interesting, thought-provoking, and he's bringing up real issues, especially for your age range, right? But talk to me about Elder Tik Tok, and then we're going to get into some. I want to ask you some questions about your generation.
Love that. Oh, and be careful what you ask me, because I'm an open book, and I'll stand on business, and I'll say exactly what's on my head. As a Gen Zer with you boys, I will be super honest. My initial MO of being Elder Tik Tok was, at length, I want people to know that Mormons can be cool. I want people to know Mormons are not weird. I want people to know they can look at me and say, oh, that guy's cool. What is he doing? He's a Mormon too? I didn't know Mormons could dance. I didn't know that they could sing. I didn't know that they could.
Bro, you can sing too. I didn't know this. I started following you. Bro, you can sing. It's
Stop,
so
Shane,
good.
stop, bro. No,
I've been meaning to text you. Dude, you're so good. You are so talented.
Thank you, brother.
Incredible.
Thank you, brother.
Like if you haven't checked out his singing, I thought at first when I thought, oh, he's lip singing. And then I did some digging. I'm like, no way. He can sing too? What can't this guy do?
I appreciate you, Shane. No, that's you're too kind. I'm not the only one though. You guys are video creators. It takes talent. It takes effort. It takes a creativeness to do social media. So that was my whole MO. I'm like, look, like Shane said it perfectly. There's only a few things I love in this world, and one of them is the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I'm going to make that what I portray to the world. You don't have to watch my videos, but if you do, you're going to know I'm Polynesian and I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and there's more people like me in our church. That was my first mode. That was my first kind of surge into the social media career of mine.
You're like the Samoan Weekend to me. Like when I see your vibe.
That is the nicest compliment I've ever had in my life.
Absolutely.
I love the Weekend too, by the way.
But then you can sing. No, super cool. Super cool. So
yes,
that was your goal. You just didn't. And I agree with you. Like I don't want people to think Mormons are weird. And when they get to know me, they're like, "You're Mormon?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Mormon." And I don't drink. I don't do any of that stuff.
Neither do I. Yeah, neither do I. Yeah.
So
yeah.
So cool. So that was kind of your game plan. And so you've been doing all the TikToks. Talk to me about what that experience has been like as you grow your account and are you getting people that are hitting you up, and are you able to like individually share the gospel with people and help people that might be struggling?
That's a beautiful question. I love when people reach out to me, and I'm not saying this for boastfulness or anything, but when somebody reaches out to me, I get them, I'm not kidding you guys, on the daily. Elder Tik Tok, I love this video. I love this video. You helped me serve a mission. Like, I wasn't going to serve a mission. I saw your video. I want to serve a mission. I saw your video. I'm inactive, but I went to church last week because of your video. It reminded me that I can still be myself and be part of the church. That happened because of something I did, right? And but the thing is, like, it was easy for me because everything I get is from Heavenly Father. He gave me talents to be a singer, or he gave me talents to be social media, right? And so I just appreciate that the 1 out of the 99 people who message me actually take value from what I'm doing. I'm not doing this for clicks. I am not doing this for views. I am not doing this for followers. I could care less. If you don't want to watch my stuff, see ya. Swipe, unfollow. You know what I'm saying? But it's for the people who don't have a voice. It's for the people who are afraid to say it. I'll say it because I have a platform. I've been blessed with it. So I am here. Like, if you want to unfollow me because you disagree with something I say, I do think that's a little disingenuous because we can disagree and still be friends. We can have different ideologies. We can have different political standings, but you'll always be my friend at the end of the day. But if you want to unfollow me because of one thing I said that you disagreed with, we call that rage quitting in Gen Z. Okay, you just rage quitted. Like, don't let one little thing distract you from what the real purpose and intent is, what I'm trying to do. That's all I got to say.
So I want to ask you a question. That's something that's been on my mind. And I don't know how true this stat is. There's a lot of numbers flying around about those that are around your age. They go on their missions, they come home, And I've heard numbers like 40% or 50%. I don't know what to believe in. I don't know what is true, but it seems to be that there's a large group of people that after they get home from their mission, they're choosing to disengage from the church. Are you finding that to be true among the people that you know and like your friends? And so is that not something that's happening? And if it is something that's happening, why do you think it's happened?
I know exactly why it's happening. It's super simple to me. You went on your mission for the wrong reasons. And I want to be sensitive, and I want to be like, I don't want to be rude, but the reason I haven't left the church, amongst all the crap that we get drugged through about our history, this leader did this, the Bible says this, but the Book of Mormon says that, it's like, that is fluff to me. It doesn't matter. I serve my mission to serve other people, not to baptize. The reason why these people are leaving the church is because they didn't develop and internalize true principles of the LDS church. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Let me get that right. They didn't internalize the gospel of Jesus Christ principles and doctrine. They adapted church constructs, Utah constructs, right? That is nowhere in doctrine. That is nowhere in scripture. But because it's not in line with what you perceived or what you thought we are as LDS people, I got to say this real quick. And I'm sorry if you disagree. I truly wish that we would be the Church of Jesus Christ, period, right? Latter-day Saints is cool. I get what we're trying to do, but fellas, like, please indulge me here. If we are the Church of Jesus Christ, we're supposed to be doing everything that he's doing. At least try to. Right. We have the Bible, we have the Book of Mormon, we have the Doctrine and Covenants. Jesus tells us what to do. He set the perfect example. Not a prophet, not one of your young men's leaders, not your wife, not your husband. It's Jesus Christ, right? So these missionaries, sometimes, I'm not saying all of them, I feel like they forget who we worship. I think they forget who we are. I love using the term Mormon. It's a great marketing tactic, but for the sake of a conversation, we are members of Jesus, the Church of Jesus Christ. So if you're leaving the church for anything else, if you disagree with Jesus Christ and you don't believe in him, I'll give you a pass. I can't say anything to that. But we can't call ourselves Christians, followers of Jesus Christ, and rage quit from the church when we've been taught these things since we were little. And I don't mean to be too Ward Radio-y. I know they're very bold, but I don't mean to. That's just how I genuinely feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. What advice would you give to somebody that's come home from their mission and they're struggling with their testimony, or they're struggling and they maybe read the CES letters, or they've heard something and they're struggling? What advice would you give somebody that's in that place?
So what? So what you read the CES letter? That's been around forever. That's been debunked. So what you're struggling with your testimony? We all are. And what I mean by that is we are developing our testimonies every day. The Jesus Christ's words have not changed since you went on your mission and came back. And like, I'm sorry, I need to calm down a little bit. I'm just so passionate about this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm struggling too. I'm trying to get back to the temple, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna leave the church completely. I'm really here because I believe it and I love it, and it's worked for me. But a part of the gospel, we have everything we need, right? We have everything we need. But just don't forget, like, we believe in ongoing revelation. There is stuff that changes that doesn't discredit everything Jesus has done, right? So if you are struggling, if you feel like your testimony is shaken, that's actually good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because if your testimony is static on your whole life, there's no development. And we are working towards celestial kingdom, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So in my personal opinion, the gospel of Jesus Christ is set up for growth, not static. And the only way it can go up and down is if you have these struggles, if you have these questions. And I'm sure we're going to get into it in this next part, Shane, but my focus has, in my social media career, has shifted from showing the world Mormons are cool, LDS people, we're just like normal Christians, to now I got to focus on who we are as a community, as people, as LDS people. We have LDS people on this side of the ticket, this side of the ticket. We have people, David knows this best of all, we have LDS people who believe the Book of Mormon happened here, and then we have people who say, nope, it happened here, right? So why are we disagreeing as members of the LDS church? Is that even allowed? Is that even possible? These are things I'm trying to explore. And my main goal for 2024, and I think I've done it, is easy. It's to spark conversation and dialogue. Have conversations. That is my goal 2024 so far this year.
So I got a question. Can you guys hear me okay? All right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you use the word Mormon a lot. And we do as well. You know, it's something that we like grew up with as kids. And I'm curious, we get a lot of people that are like, you guys sure aren't following the prophet. You know, it's very clear what he's told us, and you guys are just choosing to disagree with it, you know, and calling us out. One thing that we've done, we've talked amongst ourselves is, you know, when we're doing it, it's kind of a honor and homage to Hinckley and to Monson, because they loved it so much, you know, and I'll retort back to people like, hey, we're just honoring Hinckley and Monson. In doing so, like, clearly I know what the name of the church is. And if anybody asked me what it was, I would be very easy to articulate. But Mormon isn't anything to be ashamed of. It's not a pejorative.
Heck no.
It's not a
No.
derogative term.
No.
I'm super, super proud of it. And, you know, I never won't be. I'm not ashamed of it at all. Like Paul said, I'm not ashamed of my gospel. And so what's your reaction? I'm guessing people call you out all the time because TikTok is just full of shiz posters. So how do you retort to that?
Trevor, sorry, respectfully, are you married?
Nope.
Okay, well, I love you. So I was going to tell your wife, if you had a wife, I'm sorry, but I love you for saying that. Respectfully, of course. Respectfully. Because you literally just took the words out of my mouth. You go to 90% of America and you say, have you heard of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? They're like, huh? Apologies. Have you heard of the Mormon Church? Oh, yeah. I use Mormon as a marketing tactic, as to build a bridge, a connection. I will say Mormon all the live long day. And then once we establish that connection, that relationship, then I can say, hey, just so you know, it's so cool. Our official name is actually the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But, and fellas, correct me if I'm wrong, but Mormon, was it a derogatory term for us back in the day? Was it kind of an insult ever at one point, or no?
More
Yeah.
good.
It means more. Listen, the way I view it is like, I am a Mormon, just like a Jew is a Jew, but I'm the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so I mean, we're all about identity today, I guess, in this world that we live in. So I identify as a Mormon, but I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah, I totally agree, 100%. I love, like, and you guys pay homage to the prophets of old. I pay homage to that $1 million movie we put out called what? Not Meet the Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It was Meet the Mormons. It's catchy. It's cool. It's shorter. I don't have to waste oxygen when I say the full name. Okay, that might have been disrespectful. But no, I agree with you, fellas. It's just a word to establish relationships, to establish familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, and this is a business kind of thing. I'm not wasting my characters on a post. Hashtag Church of Jesus Christ. That takes up too much. I could put Latter-day Saints, Mormon, and LDS in the time it took me to take that, right? It's simply just a tactic. At length, it's just a tactic. I'm serious. And Russie, President Nelson, I love you. I know what he said. We all do. You know what I'm saying? We get flack for it all the time, but it's like, how else are we supposed to have people not see it? We know members know the real name of our church. You know who doesn't? Non-members. So we're trying to reach that demographic as well. So let us do our thing. And don't worry, we're not stupid. We know what we're doing. So that's all I got to say about the Mormon thing.
Love it. Okay. What are some other topics? I know you had a conversation with Hannah Stoddard. I watched that whole kind of interview talking about this concept of follow the prophet off the cliff. Like, talk to me a little bit about your views and kind of culturally where we're at, but where should we be doctrinally?
That I was with you until you said the cliff. Follow the prophet until the cliff. And that's what I want to I'm working on my personal testimony. You know, I'm praying. I'm trying to, develop my testimony like I've mentioned. When it comes to the prophet, he is the closest thing to God. I sustain him. I support him. I listen to him. If President Nelson came tomorrow and said, polygamy's back, y'all, effective immediately, how would you react?
I'd have to really pray about that one.
You see, Trevor says no. Shane says he'd have to pray about it. We have members that would say, "Oh yeah, the prophet said it. Yeah. If what he says goes." What? What are we talking about right now? Hold on a second. Hold on 2 seconds. Just breathe, everybody. I love the prophet. I sustain him. He's my guy. I'll do anything for him, right? Unless it's not conducive to what a prophet really is. Does that make sense? I'm not saying President Nelson has done anything like that at all, but we cannot treat these guys like God. And that's a comment we get all the time. He is a man. He's fallible, but he is the best thing that we have and closest to God. I believe that. Show me which prophet was all of a sudden treated as God besides Jesus, of course, in the Bible? Nope. King David did that. Oh, that was fallible. Oh, Solomon did that. Oh, he wasn't supposed to do that. Oh, King David, you know what I mean? Oh, Mosiah this.
Moses.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? So these are men that are tasked with one of the hardest jobs in the world to lead our church, right? I give them grace. I give them flowers. But we have our own mind and we have our own spirit too. Whatever prophet says, it's the same as if it was from Heavenly Father. Totally believe that. But if President Nelson says, red is the best color in the world, you will have members who will say, he's right. Oh my gosh, he's right. Hold on now. Not everything he says is straight doctrine. We got to realize that, right? And how you decipher that doctrinally, Shane, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, this is my personal testimony, is you have to refute everything with the spirit and with scripture. But President Nelson always does that. But like in my experience, he does do that. So I don't really have to test it. I don't really have to I'm not testing the prophet, or I'm not, trying to go toe to toe with him. But as a that's how I feel when it comes to doctrine. And maybe if you guys have something to add on to that.
No.
So
Go ahead, Trev.
yeah, my question based on that is, did you get the jab, Elder Tik Tok?
In Seattle, Washington, there were a total of 10 missionaries who didn't get the jab. Elder Tik Tok was one of them. And honestly, fellas, it was just because I didn't feel like it. I'm sorry. I hate needles, first of all. That's why I don't have a tribal tattoo. I'm Samoan, but I don't have a tribal tattoo. I hate needles. Like, F that. But what Trevor said, just because President Nelson got the jab does not mean I have to. Oh, Elder Tik Tok, you don't trust the prophet? Well, you don't trust President Nelson? I'm like, oh, I trust that man with my life. He's a freaking surgeon. Yeah, he's a surgeon.
Some of the comments is saying you're apostate.
Oh, no. Again? I like pasta, though. If you want to give me a pasta on a plate, no, I'm playing. That was wordplay. Look.
Yes, please.
I didn't get a jab. I didn't get the jab just because honestly, at that time when I didn't do my research, I can't Google anything. I'm a missionary. There was 10 missionaries out of the whole mission. I just didn't want to get it. I'm sorry. But then you have these people who were like, because the prophet got it, I got it. That's cool. And I trust the prophet to this day. But it's just not one of those things that I wanted to do. And some people may say he messed up on that, right? What about Hinckley and the Salamander letters, right? Did he mess up on that? If he was a real prophet, he would have known it was fake. Like, you guys, they don't predict the future. These are men. Okay? So, Trevor, I did not get the jab. Sorry. That was a long way of saying I did not get the jab.
Did you get, were they trying to push you to get it? Or was it just whatever you would choose as a missionary at that time? It's totally up to you if you don't feel like it.
I mean, you were in Seattle.
And especially because I was in Seattle. I didn't have the vaccine card because I wasn't vaccinated. The only ridicule I got was from other members and missionaries. Like, well, Elder Fano didn't get the jab. He thinks he's too cool. Or I'm like, I just don't want it. I'm healthy. I'm good. I'm cool. I'm pretty sure I got it twice playing pickleball already, so I'm straight. So, but mind you, this was when not a lot of information was about it. It was only just the members that were kind of like, wow, have you no faith? I'm like, oh, I have faith. I hate needles and I don't want it and I don't feel like I need it. So
yeah, and it is interesting. Listen, for a guy that's 90 whatever years old he was at the time, probably good for him. For a guy that's healthy and 20 years old, probably didn't need it. And I think that's what we all have to recognize is we can take whatever anybody says. We have the right to take it to the Lord and decide for ourselves. So thank you for clarifying.
But does it matter who it comes from? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Trevor. Go ahead.
I feel like I want to say on this issue, I just wish it would have been presented differently. I wish it would have been, instead of being read from the pulpit and recommending that we all do it. I feel like they should have told us that this is what they're doing and that everyone else should pray about it and to see if it's the right thing. And that would be the right move. Because clearly it ended up making them look bad because they put language in the letter that says safe and effective. It was neither safe nor effective. And the data came out afterwards. And so it's one of these things that people can point to and say, see, they got that one wrong. And it just, to me, it was kind of sad because I was looking for guidance. I was looking for the iron rod at that point. And when it came out, it was something that I know a lot of people that are still faithful members went back, prayed about it, got an answer, and it was not to get it. And it was hard. That was a hard thing for me, talking about, testimonies and constant battle. Like I had to reconcile that.
And Trevor, like, thank you for being so vulnerable. I appreciate that. But what Shane says, like you struggled with that, right? And that's so totally valid. But for me, like, if someone wants to tell me, yeah, President Nelson got it wrong, I'm the kind of person, I'm the kind of member, I'm like, okay, so what? I know that he's imperfect. I know that he may have made some mistakes, like, but that's still my prophet at the end of the day. Like, so, and Trevor, I if we ever talk again, like, I bet I could, like, get some wisdom from all of you guys, but, like, as a Gen Z mindset, that's how I feel. I'm like, so what? Like, because President Nelson got it wrong, allegedly, is that going to discredit everything that he said in the past or in the future? It's like, no, it's like, maybe it was a slip up, but for me, it's not going to affect my testimony one way or another. But for people like Trevor, it was a testimony kind of thing. It's like, oh, that's tough for a lot of people. You know what I mean? But what Shane says, it's like, we have every right as members of the church to use our, what's it called again? It's something God gave us at the beginning of, even before this, like, oh yeah, it's called agency. So,
and on that point, I found a press release that had the statement from the church, and they pointed out that all 3 members of the First Presidency got it, and 5 of the 12 apostles, which means that 7 of the 12 apostles, at least at the point when they published that, chose not to.
Oh my goodness. See, I didn't even hear about that. Now, you're talking about the right-hand men of the prophet. 7 of them didn't get it. And you're coming at a simple missionary in Washington for not getting it? Get out of here, bro. Get out of here, bro. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Before we wrap this up, Elder Tik Tok, you're still single. What is it that we have to do,
Shane,
to find you that one?
Shane,
we gotta do.
Shane, how are you gonna do that to me? I'm like, hey, what's next? What's next? We talking about my videos. We talking about. You did put me on blast. No, my situation is interesting right now. Very interesting right now.
Do you have one? Maybe.
I have one in mind. Yes, very much so. Very much so. I am single. I'm in my single era. I'm in the moment in YSA's life where I'm figuring it out. Everybody, I'm sorry I didn't get. I'm sorry I didn't get married 2 months after my mission. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm a heathen. I'm apostate. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry I didn't get married. And I don't have 2 kids by now. I'm 20. I'm almost 24. Oh my gosh. What are we gonna do with Elder Tik Tok? Settle down. Settle down. But no, we're working on it. We're working on it, brother. Thank you for being cognitive of my romantic life. I appreciate you.
Shane likes lining people up. So
hey,
if you're
are you Hitch? Are you Hitch? Are you Cupid?
Hey, listen. I have a way.
And he recommends some cuties.
Yeah, I have a way. So it sounds like you got somebody, but trust me, people are gonna watch this video. And most of the people that watch our videos are 70 years old. So I know they're off the table. But they're going to be going to their pool and being like, hey, you got to watch this video. If they're still single, you might still have a chance. So
that's super funny. That's super funny, bro.
Cool. Well, anything else that you'd like to share as we kind of wrap this up? Anything that's on your mind?
Yes, actually. Thank you for providing me the time. I won't take up too much because I know we're over an hour. But if you're not familiar with who I am and what I do, I am really trying to have thought-provoking conversations within our Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We are in 2024. We are in the digital era. We need to start talking. We need to start having conversations that you guys have been thinking about, but no one is open, brave enough to say it out loud and put it into the universe. Things such as, I can drink coffee and still have a temple recommend. I can still repent if I broke my covenants on marriage. I don't have to serve a mission in order to receive all the blessings that Heavenly Father has in store for me. If I get tattoos, sorry, something in my ear. If you get piercings, oh, you shouldn't be in church. No, that's not a worthy priesthood holder look. Who said that? Where did they say that? Show me the scripture reference, please. I would love to see it. I'm all about conversation. I'm a Mormon. I'm a member just like you. I am trying to provide an outlet where we can have tough conversations that we're all thinking about. And if you disagree, that's better because we have so much more to talk about. But just know at the end of the day, we are all faithful members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. These guys, these fellas, this podcast, this YouTube channel, we're all members who have maybe some ideas, some concepts that are a little untraditional, but that doesn't change who we are as Christians. That doesn't change who we are as Mormons. So if you disagree with something, give us grace. And we're the ones in front of the camera, not you guys. You guys are in the comments and you guys are in the DMs, right? It's easier to do that. What we do, not everybody can do. Okay, I'm just saying that right now.
So I saw a meme today that my nephew sent me. It was Coach Cash that's done a couple of our videos.
Okay.
And it said on it, Heavenly Father in heaven, after you drink a cup of coffee instead of a 24-ounce Monster. And he's in his car like this. He just going,
oh, he's going, I've seen that one. But it's so true, bro. It's so true. Stuff, word of wisdom issues, like anything, bro. Yes.
So I wanted to ask your question because in going into, I had this, I've got 3 daughters, and in like 2016, I wanted to teach them the word of wisdom to truly understand it, right? And I went through everything and broke it down. And then in my personal study, I was like, the coffee thing is really interesting because it says hot drinks. And then later they've been classified as coffee. And I've looked and there's like tannic acid that's released when the coffee bean is cooked, and that tannic acid causes a lot of issues. It can cause cancer if you have high pH levels. So then I was like, okay, well, but cold brew coffee is dripped and it's never cooked. It's never heated. It's cold. It's extremely healthy. So I went on this kick for like 4 years where I was like a cold brew every single day. And I even would take it to like ward activities intentionally and just walk through with my cold brew drinking. And then they would be like, oh, Trevor, what do you got? You're just drinking some coffee. I'm like, oh, it's cold brew. It's word of wisdom friendly.
Hey, word of wisdom friendly. Look at the fine print. Look at the fine print. Look at the fine print.
And I actually, on one of my Starbucks things, I put like W word of wisdom approved on them. And people were like, oh, and I turn. I'm like, no, this one's approved.
Genius to say the least. That's genius.
Kind of like for me, I had never drank tea, and I went on my mission to South Africa, and they all drink tea. They drink rooibos tea. I'd never even seen a packet of tea. So they give me the tea to put in there, and you're supposed to like dip the packet in there. I had no idea. I just tore it open and dumped the stuff in there. They're looking at me like,
what are you doing? Tell me this is your first time drinking tea.
First time I ever drink tea, but it's okay. Word of wisdom approved. I didn't know how to do it. Well, that's awesome. Well, Elder Tik Tok, thank you so much for coming on. Dude, your stuff is amazing. You are so super talented. And I want to thank you personally for making Mormons cool again. So thank you for doing that for all of us. For myself, I'm Shane Baldwin, David the Lion Douglas, and Trevor Keys. And one last thing. In the last 2 minutes, we just hit 5,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Elder Tik Tok made it happen. It happened right now. 5,000 subscribers. And we have been doing this for approximately 75 days. I think this is video number 75 or 76. And our goal is to do 100 videos in 100 days. So 5,000 subscribers. It's awesome. Thank you all so much for subscribing.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, share it. Thank you for tuning in. Elder Tik Tok's the man. We'll catch you guys next time on our next show. Thanks for joining in here on Zion Media.